Hello, everybody. How you doing? It's Thursday, and it's been a while since I've been here for Content and Cocktails, but hope you are all very well. I'm a little bit subdued today as I'm kind of coming out of the hello. I'm assuming that is Mike. Anonymous Facebook, but hello, yes. Feeling a little bit subdued because I've had a touch of the old COVID. It's finally got me, and that was not much fun. So I feel like my head is stuffed full of cotton wool, and it's been a bit of a weird one. Noticing the quality of the stream's a bit crummy, so hopefully that will improve with in a few minutes, because that is looking a bit rough. But we'll go for it. We'll go for it. If it doesn't get any better, we'll reset. But yeah, how you been doing? Hey, Helen. How you doing? Good to see you here. Yeah, so bit of a departure this week for Content and Cocktails. I am going for a mocktail because I have knocked booze in the head for a bit, because I realise that you sort of find yourself getting into those habits. And you think, I'm not enjoying this as much as I think I should. So we're going for a mocktail. But this evening, so as it's the sort of the first week back after quite a break, I am going to be looking at the whole process of going live, because whilst I've had this bit of downtime, this bit of reset time, which I do periodically, I go through periods where I have like maybe a few weeks off from doing Content and Cocktails, because it's whilst the consistency is really important, at the same time, if work and real life kind of get in the way, you can't really help that. You can put other things in place, but you sort of yeah. Yes, so it may well be a murky brown color. So just to be clear, we will not be going off burner tonight. So I have it here, and indeed there are actually some, if you can believe it, non-alcoholic cocktails in the back of this book, but they are definitely sort of presented with a degree of contempt by Bernard, who've used them as sort of the sort of thing that, you know, they're all right for some people, but you know, you don't have to listen to, you know, they'd be much improved with the addition of, say, some gin or kind of vodka. But what we're going to do is we are going to yes. That will be the guest special ale. Maybe we could have an ale one when I'm back on the sauce. So yeah, so we're going to do so my sort of emergency cocktail of choice is the Gin and It, which is a red vermouth, Italian vermouth, mixed with an equal measures of Italian vermouth and gin, bit of ice, splash of Angostura bitters. So I thought I'd do a gin and isn't. So I found Martini do this non-alcoholic aperitivo, which is basically a vermouth, and I must say, this tastes remarkably good. It's kind of not much different to the real thing, as it were. So this is my vermouth alternative, and my gin alternative, my alcohol-free gin alternative, is the Clean Company's Clean G, which sort of calls it a crisp, dry botanical spirit. Obviously, it doesn't have any spirit. Well, no, it does. So it's not entirely alcohol-free. It's like got 1.2%. So, you know, it's a little bit saucy. But I don't think it'd be possible to actually feel any effect. You'd have to drink liters and liters and liters of the stuff. You'd probably do more damage from drinking the volume of kind of stuff. So we're gonna do a gin and isn't, the sort of alcohol-free version of a gin and it. So I've got my glass. I'm gonna put some ice in there, and then equal measures of the Martini non-alcoholic Torino aperitivo. Hello, Victoria. How you doing? So yeah, so this is for health purposes, really, because I'm sort of today is the first day I've been feeling kind of more or less myself. it's been so weird because I tested negative. I had a shoot up in South Wales for Abbey Horn with her editor Deanne, and I've been testing negative, so I don't think I'm not infectious. I just feel like crap. So yeah. So 2 non-alcoholic beverages. Now, obviously, the Angostura Bitters does have booze in it, but I figure we're only having a couple of drops, so I can get away with that. I'm going to give it a stir. So this might be absolutely minging. So this is the newly created gin and isn't. Ooh, you know what? That's not half bad. It's sort of Negroni adjacent. It's got that sort of herbal kind of kick to it with a little bit of sweetness. Yeah, there we go. It sort of feels like I've got a proper cocktail. That's weird, isn't it? Oh well, there we go. Turns out there is an alternative. So, cheers, everybody. How long I'll last this evening, I don't know. I might sort of just collapse in a funk. Yeah, I'm always Victoria's kind of. It is medicinal. I think it's got herbs in. It's got it's got a bit of botanical value, I think. So what are we going to talk about? Well, we're going to talk about live video. So as I say, I've had a prolonged break from doing this because I've had we've had school holidays, we've had work, we've had all sorts of things getting sort of in the way of doing the kind of the sort of the weekly kind of structure of this of Content and Cocktails, and it's really got me thinking about a couple of subjects. One, how do you get back on the wagon and keep going when you had a protracted break? Now, for a lot of people, that's a really important one because it's all tied up with the mindset and the sort of creator approach. How do you kind of build out a marketing activity like this in a way that allows you to be consistent and allows you to be visible in a way that actually puts money on the bottom line? It's very easy with the sort of some marketing stuff, particularly with the video stuff, to be doing things and forget that ultimately, if you're going live or creating video content and you're not doing it with those very clear goals, those very clear kind of business objectives backing it up, then you've got to ask yourself, why am I doing it? So just to sort of remind, I want to hear the reasons why you go live. So what's driving your video content for your business? So for me, I'm looking to sort of drive a number of actions. One, it's about presence, and that sort of, for me, visibility and presence are sort of interchangeable kind of ideas. I want people to see me talking about the things I know, which is video. I know about video, and I need people to know that I know about video. And the same will be for you. Whatever it is you are an expert in, You need to be seen to be talking about that. So that's a big thing. So more people knowing what I do is possibly the primary driver for this. And one of the ways I do that is by coming and sharing information. So when we're talking about the anatomy of good live video, we've got to be clear about why we're going live first. That sort of underpins everything else, because if you're just sort of going live without purpose, it can be very woolly, and I think that will show through for your audience. And you need people, you need to be clear about it so people can be clear about what the reason why they're sort of tuning in to see you. It's so nice, there's lots of people tuning in tonight, which is great because I haven't done this for a while, and it's fantastic to have you along here. And I feel like with so many of you, I kind of, I feel like I know you really well, and we're kind of, I've been doing this for 3 years, and there's been a sort of a rhythm to it, and you kind of build those relationships, and it's for that reason that I keep doing it. Hello, Nick, how are you doing? So Facebook user says, I haven't been live for so long and decided earlier today that I have to change that. So this is great. Good. Who is this? Who is this having a revelation? Ditto. Evening. Hello. So you sort of have to kind of you have to have that clarity, because that underpins everything else. And it's Christian. I thought it was. So that clarity is the important thing to sort of get your brain in gear and give you that purpose. So I know that when I look at my sort of plan for the year ahead, my goals that I've set for myself, I can make choices about showing up based on what I want the business to do. Because, we know the amount of people. So as we go into our next launch, I know the amount of people I need to be in the sort of the top of the funnel, in the challenge, and so on and so forth, to give us the results we need. And so if you have that clarity about business goals, you can then look at your video and live video strategy and go, how is this going to help me meet my goals? So when you're thinking about the kind of the build out of live video, that sort of that clarity around goals is really important. I feel, as Sandra says, I feel this time I've been hiding and want some return. I want it to be 100%. Yeah, absolutely. And this is it. There can be a lot of, and when I say be clear about your goals, what I'm not saying is kind of, you don't have to have a sort of micromanaged strategy, because I think one of the things that can happen is that we, and I've been guilty of this in the past, is that we tell ourselves that everything has to be perfect, that there is a perfect time for doing this. And this is partly why, because I almost didn't go live tonight, because I thought, I don't, my brain's a bit woolly, and I know it won't be perfect and all that kind of stuff. But then I thought, well, that's kind of, there's something in that. There's something in that imperfection, being the sort of suboptimal version of yourself and still going live. There is a value in that, because I can share it as a story. There is something that people may find encouraging or may find heartening about that. That if we can do these things when we're not feeling 100%, and it isn't a complete disaster yet. There's still plenty of time for the wheels to fall off. That maybe that gives somebody the encouragement to sort of, for them to do it. And frankly, that's all I can ask for. So there's that. There's, first of all, that clarity. Why are you going live? Why do you want to do it? And then there's that internal structure. Now, I have got a little free download that might be useful for you. Let me just grab it. So I had the link open here. This is the the checklist I use. So I have a go live checklist that I use as my sort of blueprint for going live. And broadly speaking, I built this out because I didn't want to screw up visibly and repeatedly. So oh no, that's not the one. That's the thank you page. Go live checklist. There we go. Now, many of you have already got this, but I'm gonna just so this is kind of this is my blueprint that I use personally for sort of making sure I don't screw up my lives too badly. And some of them, some of you will already have this. Some of you will not have seen it before, but it's designed to just it's a free PDF download with a video training alongside it, and it's just like do these things, do this, and this, and your lives will be kind of improved. Your video lives, but maybe also your sort of actual lives. I don't know. I can't promise it will improve all aspects of your lives, but it will improve all aspects of your live stream lives. Told you I was a bit weird today, so you're getting like I say, you're getting a suboptimal version of me. I'm going to put this in the different spaces. So yeah, this is one of these things that kind of gives a little bit where a little bit of structure goes a long way. So if you've done my challenge in the past, you'll remember I've talked about formatting and having a structure for your lives and a kind of a sort of set routine for it, which will make things better. So we're not talking about that kind of superstructure. We're talking about the structure of your individual lives here. This is much more about the kind of the individual units of live video, of live streaming. So this is what this checklist is about. So if I was to sort of go through it, let me just open it up because I can't remember off the top of my head precisely what it is. Files. Come on. Come on. Where is it? This is all making sense so far. I feel like definitely words are definitely coming out of my mouth, but whether they're making any sense is another matter entirely. You'd tell me if I wasn't making sense, I'm sure. It might be. It might. Who's that? Is that Matt? Is that you, Matt Boyles? I don't know. I can't see who that is. Somebody's cooeying me. I'm trying to guess who this is. I bet it's yeah. I don't know who that is. So yeah, the so the list, it's basically broken down into four sections. So the before you go live section, these are the things that I do in the run up to going live. Obviously, am I speaking? I'm not speaking. Before you go live, decide on a topic. As obvious as that sounds, you would be amazed by the amount of people who just say, I'm going to go live, and click go live, and then go, what am I going to talk about? So, at the very least, Thank you, whoever that is. I do suspect it's Matt, but or it's Matt or Mike. Yes. And going live, it's this idea that somehow the virtue of it and the value of it lies in being live, but actually being seen to be just talking old guff, that doesn't, if the purpose of it is to go live and be seen as somebody who knows what they're talking about, then at least know what you're going to talk about. So identify a topic, decide on the date and time. So you can put this as an event, because if you know when you're going to go live in advance, you can tell other people that you're going to go live at that time. And if other people know, you never know, they might turn up. Promote your live in your group, your business page and personal pages, and anywhere else where you might want to develop an audience. As kind of obvious as that sounds, it's kind of, again, think of it like, you're giving a talk or something. If people know it's happening, they're far more likely to turn up. Choose your go live platform. So my take on this is that I use a multi-streaming service like StreamYard or Melon, depending on, or Restream. I'll use that as a way to go live to lots of different places at the same time. So, my product. Hello, Andy. How you doing? Nice to see you. So really, that is as simple as knowing where your audience lie. If you know where your audience kind of knowing where your audience are should dictate your primary kind of, your sort of primary place where you go live. So if you are somebody for whom Instagram is really important, go live there. Go live there and build your audience there. Plan your live. This is the bit that I'm guaranteeing that a lot of people do not do. Now, those of us who people we're working with, people I work with, this is something you'll know that I'll bang on about, because knowing the content of your live, I bullet point things down, because, and particularly tonight, because I'm sort of, my brain is all woolly and sort of a bit kind of, like I say, post-COVID-y. I'm sort of, unless I've got this, this little bit of this rough roadmap for what I'm doing, it's inevitable that I'll sort of massively deviate and end up talking about something else entirely than what I plan to talk about. So when you download the checklist, you'll see that structure is there. So do take a look at that, because you'll find it to be of great use. Check your tech and setup. So the second stage is checking your tech and setup. So is your mic working? Boop, boop, boop. Make sure your camera's working. Do you have enough battery life? So my camera runs off a mains battery link. Am I lit properly? I've got a couple of lights here which show off my beautiful face to the greatest value it can be. Value? I don't know. My God, I'm sorry. To its greatest effect. I have a lot of reflective surfaces, so I have to be very mindful of that. I have to get my lighting right. I don't want my glasses to have too many lights in them, and I don't want my head to be too shiny. So some nice soft lighting will help with that, and does. Clean your lens. This is a big one. Don't forget that, particularly if you're using your phone, because our phones are in our hands so often, the lenses can get really grubby. So just give it a clean. The same for, I'm using a kind of a proper camera. so I need to check the lenses are clean anyway. But if you don't, it's really frustrating when you go, why is it all, if you're repurposing your video content, which you should, you will notice the sort of the fingerprints when you come to edit. Make sure you've got support under your camera. Is it going to be wibbly wobbly, or have you got a tripod or a stand or something to keep it fixed? And is it at the right angle? Are your eyes 2/3 of the way up the screen? Is the camera lens roughly on a level, either slightly above or slightly below? And I do mean only slightly, your eyes, because what you don't want is that sort of up the nose shot, which actually, hello Alex, how you doing? Chin chin. This is a mocktail. It's using non-alcoholic vermouth, which actually is very tasty, and a sort of gin light. I've made an alcohol-free version of a gin and it, which I've called a gin and isn't. So here we are. Here's the value of having a checklist. I've had a little sidebar, and I've then gone over to go, what am I talking about? I can't remember what I'm talking about. Get the angle right. So make sure the angle of your the sort of the level of your camera is kind of just at the right level, because you don't want to up the nose shot. But if you're using your laptop, do be careful, because laptop cameras are never at flattering angles. Because they're in, unless you can lift your laptop up so that the little camera is at the right level. You'll very often get, because they're usually quite wide angle lenses, you'll either get a wide angle, many chins shot up the nose, or if you lift it up, you can get a better angle, much more flattering. I'll come to your comment in a minute, Andy. So I bought one of these. Good. Yeah, it will make a difference. Good. Yeah. So test it out. Set up that private Facebook group. Make sure that you've got a little a sort of a space, a private space to test that out. So set up a group of which you are the only member. Private group, doesn't go live anywhere else. Mocked it. Well, you know what, Andy, I'd have thought that, but because I'm sort of attempting to not sabotage my post-COVID recovery without wanting to make it too sort of sound too serious, I've mixed this, and actually I have to say it's not half bad, which is as much as a surprise to me as to everybody else, I imagine. And like I say, I'm officially off the sauce for a bit, because it's one of these things you sort of get to a point and you go, actually, I'm not necessarily enjoying it very much, and wanting to sort of get fit and healthy. So that's the reason for the temporary abstemiousness. So if you're using your phone, close other apps and notifications, because you don't want those coming up and distracting you. It is delicious. Also, make sure your phone's charged. If you are using your phone as a primary camera, you don't want 5% anxiety, which is not a good place to be. Now, this next one on the checklist, there's a certain irony to it. Check your background. Is it neat and tidy? So the answer is not very, in my case, and I will not be turning the camera around over there to show you the frankly upsetting pile of stuff. My study has been used as a general dumping ground as we go through and tidy the house out, and I've been saying that for about 6 months, because it's been like this for about 6 months. It's this sort of horrible situation where I try and work out how to make two go into one, and it just does not work. The mathematics of room tidying are beyond me at the moment. I need some extra dimensions to be opened up. Oh, fantastic! I'm so pleased, Andy. Good. Yeah, for those, yeah, that might not make a lot of sense to people, but no, that is great news. I'm really pleased. Have fun. It's yes, oh yeah, I'm very pleased you. You've been in my thoughts actually, because I know you've been having a rough time of it. Yeah, so check your background. Is it tidy? Does it look right for your kind of, does it speak to your business? I mean, I've got bits and pieces. You can see some I've got some nice interesting bits of obsolete media production equipment behind me, which tickles me, if nothing else. So what else have we got? So we've got check your tech and setup environment. So during your live, this is the sort of the broad structure I would always recommend people to use. So, you introduce yourself, tell your audience what you're going to be talking about, sum up what you're going to be telling them, and then you deliver the information. Then tell them what you. So it basically goes like this: you tell them what you're going to tell them, you tell them the stuff, and then you sum up what you've told them. But then do not forget this: when you are doing your lives, you have earned the right. If you are giving value, if you are delivering value, you have earned the right to put a call to action. The call to action is a really important and very often forgotten part of this process. So for this live, my call to action is all about this checklist, the sign up for the checklist. You don't want to forget the live, because you may have things you're selling, you may have things that actions you want people to take. There might be other pieces of content you'd like people to go and explore. Even if it doesn't have to be buy my stuff. In fact, it shouldn't always be that by any stretch of the imagination. This is about engagement. You want people to get value from what you're doing. If people are turning up and watching, it's because they're interested in what you've got to say. So why not give people a next step? A next step is a really useful thing to give people, because if they've liked what you've got, there's a good chance they'll like more of what you've got. Two other things to consider on this section. Look to the camera. It's not always easy, particularly if you've got yourself on the screen, but do try and maintain eye contact with the camera, because think of it like this: the camera, when you look down the camera straight down the lens, you are looking into the eyes potentially of another human being, which is a very powerful thing to do. If you're looking at the screen, that sort of deferred gaze isn't as powerful, isn't as engaging. So that kind of, it's like for me, it's the difference between if you think of documentaries, you've got documentaries where you've got talking head interviews and somebody's being interviewed off screen. You've got an off-screen questioner, interviewer, asking questions, and you're talking to them. In that case, you've got, because we're such visual creatures, we're so visually literate that when we see that, it sort of I think it subconsciously indicates a third part involved in the conversation and a mediation. So if you're looking straight down the lens, it's much more like a direct face-to-face conversation. So talk to the camera rather than the screen, and that can be tough to do. But a little tip here: if you are using your mobile and you're using, so there are a couple of ways to do this. You can either flip it around so that you're using the reverse camera, which is great, but sometimes it's difficult to set the shot up if you can't see what the shot looks like. But what you can do is just get a post-it note and stick that on the screen with a little arrow pointing towards the camera. So you're blocking off the bit of the screen which has got your face on it with the post-it note, reminding yourself there's the camera. But if you position the post-it note carefully, it means you can still see the comments and you don't get all the sticky gunk on the camera. My third point about lives is answer questions at a time to suit you. Don't let comments or questions derail you. And this is something which is kind of a really important thing, because it can be really tempting to go straight for the engagement. But what that can do is it can really throw you off your stride. So you can find yourself feeling very kind of it can start feeling very disjointed. Oh dear. So either you're sort of, maybe every 5 or 10 minutes you're bringing up a few comments, like Sandra, who says she's hooked on non-alcoholic grapefruit flavored tonic. Sounds very nice. But if you answered, or if you brought up every comment every time it came up, it interferes with the flow of the live. So answer them at a time that suits you. It's worth considering also what you do after the live. What happens once things have been done? So, first of all, save your video. Download it, because you can then repurpose it into all sorts of different bits and pieces later as you go down, because there will be really useful nuggets in that video content that you can then take and turn into other bits of content. So if this next point follows on from the answer questions in your own time, there might be plenty of good questions. Now, either you can use those questions that were asked but didn't get round to answering during that live for another live, or you can use those as a way to keep the engagement going. Repost links to your live on other channels to encourage replay views, because a lot of your views and engagement will come on the replays. And that's it, really. So if you think that's possibly of use, then that is available as a download. So my call to action to you tonight is to, if you haven't downloaded this, download this free checklist, because you will find it to be of great use. And I will just put it. I will just put it. Oh, there we go. That's fine. It's done. So it's this one here. The link is in the comments, but if you're after it, that's what you want. That's where the good stuff is. So, or just message me and I'll send you a link. But that's it. I think I've probably delivered some value, hopefully, this evening, even in my depleted state. I am, I don't want you to think that live video is something, and I know a lot of you don't think this, but I know there are still plenty of people out there who shy away from it. Live video is a tool for business growth, and if you approach it with a really sort of strategic mindset, you will find that it is an amazing tool for driving those goals and ambitions for your business. And with that, I will bid you good night. Jasmine, I'm really glad you've found that useful. Thank you for being here. But yeah, down the checklist will help. But turns out, even in my reduced state, that's I know about video. If you'd have asked me to talk about anything else, I wouldn't have been able to do it. Mike, sometimes that is the way to do it. You could I still think I like your idea, your I do think that a beer-related one for you, Mike, would be a very nice thing to do. Good. I'm glad you found it useful. Good, Christine. That's fantastic. Because as a one-to-many, you're going to be I'm really excited to see where things go for you, and I know that we've obviously got a bunch of video we need to do together for your new direction. But yeah, I can't wait to see what how things kind of pan out. Right, that's it. I'm gonna say over and out, and I will catch you tomorrow. Thanks for being here, guys. It's been a pleasure as always. Bye-bye.